Welcome back. I'm Hal Sparks, filling in for Joan while she's away on vacation, just for the next hour, and then she'll be back on Monday. So there, in the fight, we have a couple more callers, but before I get to them, I want to address something real quick. It gets harder and harder to keep track of the number of things that are supposedly in COVID vaccines that are the reason why you shouldn't take it. I mean, primarily, obviously, the first one was nanobots, right? They're injecting mini robots into us, which just on a nerd level, cool. But they're the big pharma and the New World Order and the Rothschilds and George Soros and whoever are injecting nanobots in you so they can track you everywhere you go. Which doesn't sound like a paranoid fantasy that someone writes in their own excrement in a journal that they carry around under their armpit until the FBI picks them up for mailing IEDs to people. It doesn't sound like that at all. But meanwhile, there's all these stories about, the newest one, which is adorable, is that, and this one shocked me and not many of them do. But if you look at these, there's a recent accusation put forward by a couple of right-wing outlets, the Stu Peters show, who is a crazy person on Real Voices Media, which Trump himself has been on, and a lot of the Trumpers make the rounds on, and a Spanish scientist tweeted that I don't know, that are a group that are associated with the University of Almeria. They pushed back against this. They released a communication saying that's garbage. But the accusation is, just in case you're keeping track, if you've got your what's in COVID this vaccine this week bingo card, the new accusation is that it contains 99% graphene oxide, and that's why you're magnetic. I don't know if you know this. If you've been vaccinated, I've had 2 doses of the Pfizer vaccine, and apparently I'm magnetic. Now, there's something in it that makes guitar picks stick to your forehead. I do know this. I have this affliction. If you're watching the live stream, it's happening right now, and there's nothing I can do about it. But graphene, first of all, graphene oxide is, if it's 99% graphene oxide, the nanobots have to be super small, but how few nanobots, is that the support structure for the nanobots? Do they have to be in a magnetically pH'd bloodstream? I don't know. So the question is the Pfizer COVID-19 vaccine composed of 99% graphene oxide? Does it have the effect of making vaccinated people magnetic? And was this ingredient added to the vaccine to murder people? The answer is no. None of these claims are true. Hosts Stu Peters and Jane Ruby, a frequent guest on his online show, have extrapolated from their distortion of a report by a Spanish scientist to mean that there must be a plot by vaccine companies to commit mass murder. This is false. There is no proof the Pfizer COVID vaccine contains graphene oxide. The complicated story began in Spain, originated in Spain, quickly traveled through anti-vaccine channels. In late June 2021, the Spanish report was used as the foundation of an episode on the Stu Peters Show that aired on July 5th. And redvoicemedia.com, the video is titled "Breaking Discovery: The Actual Contents Inside Pfizer Vials Exposed." Scientists have examined the Pfizer, quote, vaccine, they're air quoting it, single quote, and what they found was horrific. It's poison. Dr. Jane Ruby joined Stu on the show. If it is, it's not a very effective poison, because I have apparently had the poison in my bloodstream for a couple of months now, and it has not slowed me down, weakened me during workouts, made me scatterbrained and unmotivated. It certainly has not turned me into a socialist zombie. I think which must be the goal. And I ain't dead yet, so it should have killed me a lot sooner if this was a direct poisoning kind of thing. In the 1-minute video, Stu Peters makes a claim, "You are now here willing and ready to say that this is 100% proof that this is nothing but mass poisoning, mass murder, genocide." She goes, "Well, Stu, I'm not going to say that it's 100% proof because even the researchers themselves are aware of their limitations." Yeah, between their ability to grasp reality and their ability to write stuff down. Um, and by the way, this is lunacy. We know this is lunacy. It's pretty run of the mill lunacy. But for the record, the important thing you need to know is, as silly and as alt right, dredges of the universe, the alleys behind Craigslist, as right, Red Voice Media and their other companies, their other sites, and his shows on Rumble, I think too. As much reach as they have, they actually do eventually germinate their way up into the right-wing ecosphere and end up on Fox News. And what this comes out as, people think that the COVID vaccines are poison and that you need to stay away from them. And this is how you breed the death rates that we're seeing in red states. Another big problem that I don't know would seem like they might affect the red state voter turnout next time around. And not just the ones who died, but the family members of the people who died, who know that their relatives were talked out of wearing a mask or talked out of getting a vaccine. How are they going to line up for these stampeding QAnon nutcases who are going to be running for Congress and state senator and dog catcher and ultimately president in their area? Now, maybe a bunch of these people are all-in cultists. Maybe so. But the vast majority of them aren't going to be. And you can only ride the "I'm too embarrassed to admit I was wrong" angle for so long. Especially as you've got the Delta variant coming out and the Lambda variant, which is now making its way around. A new COVID variant is now on the radar of several countries. The Lambda variant, or C37, believed to have originated from Peru, is designated as a variant of interest by the WHO on June 14th. And by the way, currently, initially known as the Andean, because I guess the Andes Mountains, the Andean variant, after being detected in Peru in December 2020, the C37 or Lambda variant drew little notice beyond Latin America, as the Alpha variant, first seen in Kent, England, around the same time, preoccupied the world. This is their label coming out. The CDC is talking about this, and the fact that the Delta variant is making the United States and is the predominant one in the United States currently. And if you have been vaccinated, for all intents and purposes, you are protected against the Delta variant and more than likely the Lambda variant, which is not as transmissible as the Delta variant, and therefore you are slightly more protected against it, one would think. Again, having 2 doses of the Pfizer vaccine, knowing full well that they now know that the Johnson & Johnson vaccine is completely effective against the Delta variant itself. The Lambda variant, it seems to be, the vaccines themselves seem to be, similarly protective against Lambda. There are currently 4 variants of interest, which are characterized by the presence of mutations that are associated with the increased transmissibility, severity of disease, and the ability to evade immunity from vaccines or past infections. This is the thing to watch out for. This does not mean that these variants have been yet confirmed to be more transmissible or to cause more serious infections. Only that the genetic structure of the mutated virus points to the possibility of these happening. That's their job, is to keep track of these. Remember, it's like the Amber Alert. The odds are that car with that missing kid is not on your street. But if it turns out to be, it's better if you have this information and be on the lookout. Be aware. Keep your head on swivel. Though the Delta variant, a variant of concern first detected in India and thus far believed to be the most transmissible and resilient variant of COVID-19, dominates most infections across the world. 6 cases of the Lambda variant have been now found in the UK, all linked to international travelers. There are no cases of the variant reported in India yet. The question is Lambda more transmissible than Delta? There is currently limited evidence available about this variant. This is science on the move. At some point, watch for a Republican to take that sentence and say they lied to us about the Lambda variant. That they told us it was limited in its variant capability. That's the story. Like masks. Like after studies on masks had not been done about their ability to pass certain types of infectious disease, specifically the flu and others. There had been no clinical studies on this, or not enough, where they'd had a definitive answer early in the pandemic last year. By June, there were several. And so scientists talking about this in the beginning said there's limited effectiveness. You want to stop droplets from this, but as far as the other infection, as far as it hanging in the air for long periods of time, it's not, it's more about protecting people who will spit on you that have it than you not getting it. It's not protecting you from it. It's keeping people who are infected from getting it on you. That's what masks initially were believed to be wholly capable of doing. And that was because there was so much asymptomatic spread, and because there were so many people who were carrying it and had only mild symptoms, or thought they were over it, or thought they had something else and weren't wearing masks, that the idea was you should start wearing masks because of you transmitting it. We now know, after studies, that not only does it stop you from transmitting it, but you from actually getting it in the first place. That it does slow transmission. And it lowers the viral load you are experiencing, and therefore can lower the severity of the disease that you get. Masks work. By June of last year, all the science was in. And the CDC updated, I think sometime in March, their advisement on them to not just go, it helps stop the spread outward, it also stops the spread of people receiving the virus from the environment around them, from spittle from other people, from droplets, and it hanging in the air. Even if it gets around the sides of your mask because you don't wear it perfectly, you're still getting less virus into your system, and therefore there's a higher chance you'll be able to fight it off. We have to take a break. We'll be back right after this with more calls. 773-763-9278 is the number. I'm Hal Sparks, filling in on the Joan Esposito Show.